us go for a little walk here, just to give a picture of what's going on in Ireland and potentials, what has gone on in Ireland, and goals, potential goals people might have, right? So this is Athlone, and what you're looking at there is one of the refugee camps, right? Camps that are being designed or built for international protection applicants, right? And it's not something that's isolated to just one or two areas in the country. You're seeing it nationally, right? That's Athlone. We have Clonmel here. We'll have a look at that aerial footage from Clonmel. Foundations gone in, workers continuing on. And bear in mind the scale of this, right? And just across the road from that, there's obviously a residential house for anyone familiar with the site and that. But look at this, the scale of it, size of it. Big money, big effort, big time, big industry. Huge. And people live then just across the road from that. So you can see massive big camps. Look at that. Look at that. And you can see all the way into the horizon there that those fields continue on and on and on. So there's the potential there for this thing falling over, spilling over into other fields, and on and on and on, the whole way up part of the N24 there. So this is a barracks essentially under construction in another town in Ireland. Then we will wander towards the Gardaí section of Ireland, and it's been reported nearly continuously year on year, year in year out, that this is from, I believe, 24, right? So record numbers of Gardaí have left the force over the past year. And if we follow some of what the Gardaí have been doing over the last few years, we see the Garda Dáil from, this is from 2023 last year, Garda Dáil from our station in Macroom dropped into the local International Protection Centre yesterday evening to chat with residents and let them know that we're here should they need us. It's important to all of us that every community we serve feels safe. And there was words going around that, look, the Gardaí are obviously in there recruiting and they're going to start taking on some of these people that are coming here as Gardaí, right? Shot down as conspiracy, of course, until we find this. Hang on. And we'll go back.
Myself, as someone who came in Ireland 3 years ago, is an asylum seeker. I'm currently enjoying stage 1.
So we go back and listen to that again. What did she say before the video was edited?
Myself, as someone who came in Ireland 3 years ago, is an asylum seeker. I'm currently...
Wow. So someone who came here 3 years ago as an asylum seeker is now studying, training, perhaps both, to be a guard, to police you. Right. Not only that, we have a few instances of this sort of stuff.
What country are you from? Afghanistan. You run away from the Taliban? You leave your wife at home? Army? So why are you here? Why are you here? This is crazy, man. Hey, buddy. And you leave your wife at home and...
So this isn't just one instance. There's other instances of this where there's another guy asked, where you from? Afghanistan. Were you part of the Taliban? Yes. Right, make it out what you will. They might be lying, they could be extracting the urine from people, so to speak, right? But it is what it is, and it's all information, and we can all collate it and have a look at it and put it together and draw what conclusions seem to flow from it, right? So the idea of camps had me thinking back to COVID, right? And we've seen in some countries, China being an obvious example of it, right? This is from 2022. So, and these are quarantine centres, right? They're not camps, they're quarantine centres. Quarantine's a good thing, therefore big massive camps are good things, right? So this picture shows a massive 108-acre quarantine centre in a part of China, which is built in January 2021. Again, size of it. Okay, look at the size of that. Look familiar? Look familiar? Right? So that's just China, but Australia also, they didn't have camps. They had quarantine facilities, right? And I remember at the time there was videos people that were putting up who were in these camps. And I think there was another couple of countries as well. People can go and look at it up themselves, right? But in Ireland, we didn't have camps necessarily, but we had soldiers that were containing people in hotels, right? Soldiers detaining and containing people in hotels. You're also told you weren't allowed out of your house most of the time, right? Or to what degree you could travel outside of your house, and who you were allowed to have in your house, right? Designated people only. So that leads us on then to, we're past COVID, right? No more pandemics. We've all learned lessons, right? So this is from NPR, and it's called 9 Diseases That Keep Epidemiologists Up at Night, right? So it speaks briefly about the coronavirus, COVID-19, and then goes on to look at some of the viruses that could cause another pandemic. Nipah virus, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, Lassa fever, again all Rift Valley fever, Zika, all Ebola and Marburg virus disease, right? Loads. And for the last few years we've been told about this. It's not a matter of when the next pandemic comes. It's not a matter of if the next pandemic comes. It's a matter of when, right? So people are pretty sure that this is going to happen again. And then to Chatham House, which is, for anyone who's interested in geopolitics and the history of core organizational structures that bleed out into colleges, NGOs, government, international maneuvering on a political stage. Chatham House, go and look it up, look up its history, all that sort of stuff, and links to Tavistock Institute. Have a read of that. You'll be a little bit more in the know of what moves, or who moves the world, right? So this is the same, speaking of when could the next pandemic happen. It's impossible to predict, but it's a guarantee, right? It's nearly a guarantee. Could happen anywhere at any time, and God knows what it is, right? But there's definitely going to be one. Which leads us then to the WHO and their pandemic treaty. And so here's this Tedros guy from the WHO, and he says, quote, "The next pandemic will not wait for us, whether from a flu virus like H5N1, another coronavirus, or another family of viruses we don't yet know about. But all the ingredients are in place to meet the objective of countries to negotiate a generational pandemic agreement. The world needs hope that it is still possible for countries to find common solutions to common problems." You can provide that hope, right? So essentially, there's pressure being put on to sovereign nations to sign up to this WHO treaty, which would allow for the WHO then to coordinate a global response. This includes requiring countries to adopt certain response measures once a pandemic is declared. Right, so if you're signed up to the treaty, you'll be required to act in accordance with what WHO says in how they tackle the pandemic, right? And what would that look like? Would that maybe look like people being put into these camps again? Or the people being put into these new camps? Who would force that? Would it be the army? Would it be the guards? Surely Irish people wouldn't lock their own into camps, right? Lock their own family members into camps. But what if you had a military or a Gardaí force that was made up of people that weren't Irish? Would they have the same reservations of locking Irish people up in camps? Maybe not, right? Maybe not, but overall, when the answer to every issue and question posed to government is let's build big camps, the goal is probably to build big camps for whatever reasons, right? And I'm not sure if anybody really wants to find out the reasons in practice, right? But it all ends up cycling back to the same thing. Government building massive big camps, nurturing and developing a police force that has no allegiance to the native population, while in the background you have the spectre of the WHO and their desire to lock everything down, to destroy economies, to strongly encourage everyone to take medical experiments into their bodies, right? And we roll on and on and on, right? So, what can you do? Talk about it for a start, right? And you can also go to your local councillors as well. And I think Irish people, we must begin to develop the courage or the feeling of self-worth to go and talk to these people and demand what their position is on this. And if yours is contrary to theirs, then let them know that. Let them know that. The steady stream of people going in talking to their local councillors about these things would do us absolutely no harm. Right? Do us absolutely no harm. It's good for you. It's good for you to say no to things, just to voice your opinion on things while you still can, right? Before the hate speech stuff comes in, is consolidated, and you're in a camp. Your opportunity is gone, right?